Hello.
It's Rowan from Silver Tiger Media, and I'm pleased to say the Spaceman has landed. We're extremely proud to announce Ace Frehley. Ace, how are you?
Have no fear, the Ace is here.
Magnificent news. And it's happy birthday time. Well, US time, it's happy birthday, so happy birthday.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure indeed. I hope John's looking after you and helping you enjoy it.
Yeah, we've been having a ball on the road.
Magnificent. What a tremendous privilege it is to speak with you. I've only been waiting 40 years, and you seem to have been quite busy all that time.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy, I've already started working on my next album. And in between touring and stuff.
Absolutely. Lots on. I have to ask you, Ace, do you recall when you first felt the desire to pick up a guitar all those years ago?
What's that?
Do you recall when you first had the desire to pick up a guitar?
Well, yeah, I picked up a guitar, the first guitar when I was around 12, 13. I picked up my brother's folk guitar, and then, I got an electric guitar for Christmas, and, it's been a love affair with the guitar ever since.
Most certainly. What an understatement. Goodness me. I have to tell you, thinking about your early days, I remember going to a fancy dress gig with my dad, and he asked what KISS standed for, and I told him, and he freaked out and refused to take me. I'm still so proud. Thank you. I've got to ask you, though, what was the real story behind the Spaceman makeup?
Is what?
What was the real story behind the Spaceman makeup? What originally brought that on?
Well, it was something I created, When KISS first started out, we all pretty much came up with our own makeup and characters, And I was always fascinated with science fiction and space travel and, so pretty much it was just an extension of my personality, and I'm still fascinated with astronomy and sci-fi movies and technology.
Oh, that's
kind of my hobby.
Oh, wonderful. Look, I'm certainly not going to waste your time with questions about the negative, but what did you enjoy most about the KISS days?
It was, most of my memories of the KISS are very fond, we created something really special, People could come to a KISS concert in the 70s, and for 2 hours they'd forget about all their problems and go into a world of fantasy. And, it was a very special thing.
Oh, what a beautiful way to put it. And, of course, your popularity hasn't waned in the slightest over all these years. I think everyone must have a story about your music and times in their own lives. I've got to ask you, how is it to us mere mortals, how is it to know that you've touched close to every person on the planet?
How is it what?
How is it to know that you've touched close to every person on the planet?
That's something I don't think about, other people ask me, how does it feel to have influenced generations of guitar players, the first thing out of my mouth is, if I knew I was going to influence generations of guitar players, I would have practiced more. But, it's something I don't really dwell on. These days I kind of live in the now and look towards the future, and, the past is the past, But I don't really think too much about the fact of what an icon I am and how many people I've influenced. It's just, I kind of take it with a grain of salt.
Well, I guess you'd have to. It's too big. It's too huge to even consider.
Yeah.
Indeed. And look, it has to be said, congratulations on Space Invader. It's tremendous work. You seem to have, this time, a little bit different to the previous 5 albums. You seem to have tipped your heart and soul into this one. Did it take a long time to choose what tracks would go onto this album?
They just kind of evolved over like a 10-month period, and to be honest with you, Past the Milky Way and Space Invader didn't really happen until the mixing process had already begun in Los Angeles. Warren Hewart was mixing the record, and both those 2 tracks I just mentioned were still instrumentals. And while Warren was mixing some of the other tracks, I wrote the melody and lyrics for those songs and pretty much knocked each one of them off in the evening.
Goodness me.
In one day while we were mixing,
That's incredible. Considering Space Invader, to me, just seems to be such an appropriate track with everything going on in the world.
Yeah, it's funny. The record company came up with that title, and then towards the end of the writing process, I started gearing more of the themes toward the space theme, especially the last two numbers. Past the Milky Way and Space Invader, and also Starship was one of the last songs that I finished for the record. And I just had a lot of fun with it. And I think it shows. I think it comes across, when you listen to it.
It is, very much so. It's like a new generation, if you like, or a new evolution of the fun aspect to your music as well.
Yeah. I kind of felt, after I finished mixing the record and listened to it several times, I kind of felt the same way I did in 1978, prior to the release of my first solo album. I kind of knew I had something good in the can, and, was kind of chomping at the bit, waiting to see what the reaction was going to be. And, luckily it was all pretty much favorable.
Most certainly. And we're very thankful that you produced it. And now you've got me all keen for the next one. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, well, the next one's going to be pretty much all covers and remakes. I'm going to, redo some songs that's from other bands that have influenced me over the years, and do a couple of remakes of some Kiss classics, and might be a couple of other surprises. We'll see. We're still formulating the final output.
Oh, that's brilliant. I was going to ask you about influences over the years, but it's probably best to wait for this new recording.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was really influenced by the English Invasion when I was a teenager. Groups like the Beatles, the Stones. Led Zeppelin was a big influence. The Who, Jimi Hendrix, and I never took a guitar lesson, but I used to mimic the solos from all those guys, and pretty much those are the guys that taught me how to play guitar.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, no guitar lessons and no formal training. How the hell did it happen? Are you a big believer in the evolution of destiny? Or
Well, I pretty much kind of knew that I was going to be famous when I was 16 years old, and I used to tell everybody. And everybody used to say I was crazy, but if you interview any of my old friends, they'll all tell you that I predicted it.
Oh, goodness me.
It was fate, I just felt like I was destined for stardom, and I also believe if it wouldn't have been with Kiss, it would have been with somebody else.
Most certainly, yeah, and luckily it all came to fruition. It wasn't a matter of luck, as it turns out. I have to ask you, Ace, you've had presented to us so much fine work with so many magnificent guitars over the years, but do you have a personal favourite from all of those years that you performed with? Was there one guitar you really loved?
Well, my favorite right now, and I've been using it for years in concert, is my AFS, my Ace Frehley signature 002. That was the second one off the assembly line, and that's pretty much my favorite. And I usually start off the night with that guitar.
Indeed.
And then, of course, during the course of the show, I switch into other guitars, and then I have the smoking guitar and the light guitar. So, it's all in good fun.
Oh, brilliant. And please don't tell my wife, but I'm actually on one of the local guitar sites now trying to get hold of one of the signature Les Pauls. But I've just got to find a way to call friends. Thank you.
Good luck. They're all limited editions, Once they're made, that's it.
Indeed. Look, how's the tour been for you so far? It's been exciting for all the fans, but how's it been for you?
The tour's gone great. A lot of the shows are sold out or almost sold out, so it's very exciting.
Indeed, and of course you're playing at the Tivoli Theatre tonight in Brisbane, then Sydney, then Hobart, and all of the excitement comes to a massive climax on Saturday night here in Melbourne. We can't wait.
Yeah, Melbourne's going to be a hot show. It usually takes 4 or 5 shows for the band to really get into full form, and we've just completed 3. So by the time we hit Melbourne will be our 6th show.
Oh, wonderful. Any special surprises, do you think, for us? I mean, it's been a great...
If there were surprises, I can't give them away.
That's all.
They won't be a surprise.
We just hold the interview until Saturday night. That'll be okay. And after Perth, of course, you've got a short break and then straight into Europe. Is touring still what it's all about for you?
Well, yeah, I tour with my fiancée, Rachel Gordon, and she's a pleasure to be around, and, you know, we're very close. You know, she actually co-wrote 2 songs with me on Space Invader.
Oh, terrific.
So she's a joy to be on the road with. You know, she's toured in her own right. You know, she has a couple of records out, so, I mean, she gets it. You know, she's not one of those road wives that, like, complain constantly.
Yeah.
And, you know, she kind of keeps me sane.
Oh, wonderful. It's what it's all about, isn't it? Goodness me.
Yeah, if you can't share this with somebody, then what the hell is it worth, right?
Oh, beautifully put, indeed. And look, I've got thousands of questions I'd love to ask you, but of course I realise you're a busy chap and on a time schedule. I have to say congratulations again on Space Invaders. It's tremendous, and thank you so much for coming to visit us.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
I cannot wait to catch up with you Saturday night in Melbourne, and thank you very much for your time today. Please travel safe. Thank you, Ace Frehley.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
Thank you very much, my friend. Goodbye.
All right, bye-bye.
A participant has left